Consider this video a PSA to discourage you from using these Vicks Sinex nasal sprays. Now, these guys, they work in a pinch, but continued use over time could cost you your nose. I guess this is kind of like a showcase or a review for these intakes that I got. Basically, I have gone through, I don't know how many boxes of these Breathe Right Easy Strips. Now, these things are great, but the only downside of these things is that they, you put them on overnight and they just kind of, at some point during the night, they just stop working because of, your skin secretes oils and whatnot. And in the process of it all, it gets loose, and if you have nasal issues like myself, I've had sinus issues growing up as a kid, and part of it is why I kind of got stuck on these things. Now, these things, what they do is when you spray them up your nose, what it ends up doing is that it constricts the blood vessels, and so it kind of opens up the nasal passages. However, what it also does over long-term use is that it eats away at the split that's between the nose. It kind of eats away at that. Now, I was having an issue where it's like, why am I addicted? Not rather addicted, why am I dependent on something like this to breathe? And it's like every 10 to 12 hours, it's like, oh, I cannot breathe. And anytime I would, use this stuff, I hate using this stuff because it's just like it burns, and then at the same time, it was I would sneeze uncontrollably. The first thing was I ordered one of these things. This is called an intake. You can get it at just look at intake on Instagram, or just look at intake nasal thing, whatever, on Google. And basically it's essentially a much better version of these Breathe Right strips. And the cool thing is that right on the nose you've got these two sticky things with a magnet on it, and then this thing has got some magnets on the other end, and then you just simply stick it on, boom, and it just opens up the nasal passage. Now, one of the things was I went to my ENT specialist, and one of the things that when he looked up my nose and he told me, I was like, yeah, you've been using this stuff? What does it say on the bottle? I'm like, yeah, it says a couple of days. And he's like, yeah, and how long have you been using it? I'm like, I've been using it for about a year. I was like, how often do you use it? He goes, I tell him I use it maybe once, maybe twice a day. And I said, okay, you're not in too bad of a situation, because I've got patients that come in that use it 4 or 5 times a day to be able to get through the day because they can't breathe. And so and some people they end up like they're damaging their nose as a result of it. And one of the things that he told me was one of the major issues or liver issues that people have is because of Tylenol. People be taking Tylenol and they be messing themselves up. So he's like, you got to be careful with these over-the-counter things, is that you don't want to be using it regularly. So he prescribed for me some anti-inflammatory nasal sprays, which have helped a lot, and I can essentially breathe. And this, on top of that, definitely opens up the nasal passage, and you can breathe easy. One of the things that though was interesting was that the doctor kind of pointed out, it's like if you look at your nose, and I apologize you guys having to look up my nose, but one of the things that he pointed out was that my nose is actually a little dislocated, the tip of the nose especially. And that's mainly because of being bonked too many times in the face, through martial arts and sparring stuff. And on top of that, it's just that one of those things where it's like a little bit. And over the course of 20 some years, the tip is a little, it's a little off. So it's one of those things where it's like you might be able to fix it through surgery, and I got to talk to another specialist about that. But in the meantime, I got some of the anti-inflammatories that I was prescribed, but it's interesting because there's a lot of people, especially in a combat sports scenario, where you're gonna get bonked in the face. You either break a nose or you dislocate a nose or some facial features, and that just kind of makes things a little bit difficult. And that makes you a little bit more, prone to becoming dependent on something such as this. So my recommendation is don't do this. See an ENT specialist, see how they can help you. And if you need some fixing, that might be the appropriate route to take. So, but yeah, that was my PSA. And in terms of the intakes, like these things are great, man. I've been using these for maybe a week now. And they're just so cool. One of the things I like about it, which I didn't like about these Breathe Right stuff, is that the color, the complexion, is not made for people with a darker complexion. And they even have the clear ones, but then it's just like the downside still is the same as the downside of this one. Less the aesthetic, but more so that with the oil secretions overnight, they kind of like become ineffective. The cool thing about the intake package, what it does is it comes with two different sizes for, two different sizes for what you're going to put on your nose. So there's one size, and this is, I guess, a little bit less aggressive. And then one of the things is you don't necessarily have to use it for sleeping. I use it for sleeping, but you can use it for sport. You can use it for whatever. For me, actually, my nasal passages are completely opened up when I'm active. So breathing is not that big of an issue in that regard. But yeah, so it comes with these... the two magnet nose tops, I guess that's what we can call it. This was pretty cool though, being able to put these things on your because the sticky part, the adhesives, literally just kind of stick it on there. It comes out like that, and you stick it on your nose, and boom, that's done. It also comes with alcohol swabs, so that way you can kind of clean the nose, so that way the adhesive stays on. So overall, it's a pretty cool package. I like the the design and the layout, and the fact that for somebody such as myself who has dark hair, i.e. black beard, this thing matches my complexion, the beard and all. So it doesn't look too crazy. It almost seems like an accessory on my face, but enough dorkiness for me. Hope you guys found this of value and of benefit. Again, you got nasal issues, go see an ENT specialist. Do not stay away. I'm saying do not stay away. Do not use this, stay away from this. Use it in a pinch, maybe once or twice, but stop using it. For me, I just needed the anti-inflammatories to get over the hump, because once I stopped using it, then everything was just really tight and it was really hard to breathe. So with the anti-inflammatories, it kind of helped you get through that hump. So yeah, we're good. Hope you guys benefit. I'll see you soon. Stay healthy and stay strong.